Social Security, a cornerstone of American retirement or a ticking time bomb? Today we're discussing how a new law might actually be hastening its demise.
Whoa, that's a bold statement. What's this new law all about?
Well, it's called the Social Security Fairness Act, and President Biden just signed it into law. It's set to boost Social Security payments for nearly 3 million current and former public employees, including teachers, firefighters, and police officers.
That sounds like a good thing on the surface. Who doesn't want more money for our public servants?
You're right, it does sound good at first glance. The law rescinds two provisions, the windfall elimination provision and the government pension offset, that have been limiting Social Security benefits for recipients who get retirement payments from other sources like state or local government pensions.
Oh, I see. So it's addressing a kind of double penalty these workers were facing?
Exactly. And the numbers are pretty significant. According to the Congressional Budget Office, eliminating the windfall elimination provision will boost monthly payments by an average of $360 by December 2025 for about 2.1 million people. For those affected by the government pension offset, we're looking at even bigger increases.
Wow, that's substantial. Can you break down those numbers a bit more?
Sure thing. For the government pension offset, we're talking about an average increase of $700 for 380,000 recipients getting benefits based on living spouses, and an even more substantial average of $1,190 for 390,000 surviving spouses. That's a game changer for many retirees.
It really is. You know, hearing these numbers makes me think about the real people behind them. Like, imagine you're a retired teacher who's been struggling to make ends meet. Suddenly, you're getting an extra $360 a month. That could mean the difference between worrying about bills and being able to enjoy your retirement.
Absolutely, and that's exactly the point Biden was making when he signed the bill. He emphasized that Americans who have worked hard all their lives should be able to retire with economic security and dignity. It's about fairness and recognizing the value of public service.
I can see why this has been such a popular move. But, you mentioned something about hastening Social Security's demise at the beginning. What's that all about?
Well, here's where things get complicated. While this law is undoubtedly positive for millions of Americans, it does put additional strain on the Social Security trust funds. These funds are already facing a looming insolvency crisis.
Oh boy, that sounds concerning. How bad is it?
Pretty bad, actually. The annual Social Security and Medicare trustees report from last May said the program's trust fund will be unable to pay full benefits beginning in 2035. And this new law, it's estimated to hasten that insolvency date by about half a year.
So we're essentially robbing Peter to pay Paul?
You could look at it that way. It's a classic case of balancing short-term benefits against long-term sustainability. And it's not just about the money either. This change is going to create more work for the Social Security Administration, which is already severely understaffed.
Really? I hadn't even thought about that aspect. How bad is the staffing situation?
It's pretty dire. The agency is currently under a hiring freeze and has its lowest staffing level in over 50 years, even as it serves more people than ever. They're down to about 56,645 staff members, which is a shocking number when you consider the massive number of people they serve.
Wow, that's just not sustainable, is it? It sounds like we're setting ourselves up for some serious problems down the line.
You're not wrong. And that's why some lawmakers, like Senators John Thune, Rand Paul, and Tom Tillis, voted against this bill. Senator Tillis expressed concern about the long-term sustainability of the change, saying, we caved to the pressure of the moment instead of doing this on a sustainable basis.
You know, he's got a point. But at the same time, I can't help but think about all the people who will benefit from this change right now. Like the firefighter Edward Kelly mentioned, who can now afford to actually retire.
Exactly. It's a classic case of weighing immediate needs against long-term sustainability. And it's not just about individual benefits. This change could have broader economic impacts. When retirees have more money to spend, that can stimulate local economies.
That's a great point. So, what do you think this means for the future of Social Security? Are we looking at a potential crisis?
Well, it's hard to say for certain, but the signs aren't great. With about 72.5 million people receiving Social Security benefits, including retirees, disabled people, and children, it's an issue that touches a huge portion of our population. The system is under increasing strain, and without significant reforms, we could be looking at reduced benefits or increased taxes in the future.
Oh, that's not a pleasant thought. Do you think there's any political will to address these long-term issues?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Social Security has become a major political issue, especially in the lead-up to the 2024 election. But meaningful reform is always challenging, particularly when it comes to such a sensitive topic. It's going to require bipartisan cooperation and some tough decisions.
Well, that's certainly something to keep an eye on. Any final thoughts as we wrap up?
I think the key takeaway here is that while the Social Security Fairness Act is a win for many public servants in the short term, it also highlights the broader challenges facing our social safety net. It's a complex issue with no easy solutions, but one that affects all of us, directly or indirectly.
Absolutely. And it's a reminder of how important it is for all of us to stay informed and engaged on these issues. They may seem dry or complicated, but they have real impacts on people's lives.
Couldn't agree more. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for tuning in to Gen FM, where we bring you the stories that matter. Until next time, keep thinking, keep questioning, and keep caring about the world around you.
And remember, whether you're planning for retirement or just starting your career, understanding these issues is crucial. Here's to a future where everyone can retire with dignity and security. Good night, everyone.